I mean, that really that, education is a fantastic career, and that education ought to be a diverse profession is really, really important. As a disabled educator, in school, it's important for our young people, whether they are SEND youngsters or, any other pupils. It's important for parents. It's important for our colleagues that we are there and that we are part of that education process, and that the barriers that could so easily be problematic to us are reduced or eliminated. And for me, it's really important to be a member of an education union so that, together we are stronger. So if there's an issue that you've got as a disabled educator, you've got your colleagues around you, you've got your union rep, and you are able to demand your rights and able to demand equality with your colleagues around you. But yeah, if we want to change the world, we've got to be part of the education system. And we've got to say that, all our young people are absolutely vital and they deserve a curriculum that they enjoy, that allows all of them to achieve, and that basically builds for a better society. So it's a huge answer to your question, Richard, and it's a really important message that, value diversity, value disabled educators, and let's get the education system right. Well, I think that, there are so many equality issues now. There are equality issues around, women's employment, LGBT plus members, our Black members, our disabled members, our older members. It's about getting it right. And we know that there are still old practices in some unions. And everything has got to evolve and change, but things are getting a lot better. At the end of the day, there are more unions that understand the social model. I mean, I always proudly say that the NEU is a social model union, and people that know me know how strongly I uphold that. So I'm hoping that those difficult days are long behind us. But yes, we're still active on things like, the gender pay gap, the disability pay gap, and such like, the race pay gap. All of these issues are really important because, the fact that you come from the fact that you have a protected characteristic should not mean that you are treated as lesser than.
So what would you say to a young person maybe who's at college, university, thinking about what profession they should go in, who's maybe have some mental health issues, neurodiverse, has a learning difficulty of one sort or another, or physical impairment? Why should they think about teaching as a career?
Because I'd always say about mental health impairment, we are not robots. We are not machines. I expect, in most people's lives, they'll have an episode or two of poor mental health. Most of us have, hands up, I have when I was younger, and certainly when I was a child carer, it was really difficult. When I was a teenager and then going into the profession. People from these different impairment groups have loads to offer. There are some fantastically creative dyslexic and neurodivergent educators, who think in ways that are really creative, that have got lots and lots of things to offer. So nobody wants to be this, one size fits all educator. So, please consider education as a profession.
Do you think that learning about disability from a social model and disability history should be in the school curriculum, and why?
I think learning about those things, as I said to you earlier, when you asked me one of your questions about projects that I've done at school, I actually think it's really important. I think it can be something that grows throughout your Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 journey as a pupil. But definitely, I think, you know, the case for overtly teaching the social model of disability in year 5 and year 6 is huge. I just think children get it in a way, our pupils get it in a way that some of our adults don't, I'll be honest. They're very, you know, interesting thinkers by and large. And I think you need to know your history.
Right, so one last question. There'll be quite a lot of students watching this, and lots of disabled students, not just those with physical impairments like you and me, but also those with mental health issues, those with cognitive issues, those with neurodiverse issues. What would you say to them to why they should persevere and enter the teaching profession?
Right. This is a really good question. Thank you, Richard. So when I first, well, I sort of finished my degree and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew what I didn't want to do. I knew I didn't want to go into banking or insurance. So I knew basically I wanted to work with people. And when I went along for the interview for teacher training, as it was then, I wasn't sure if I could crack it, you know. I'd got into a lot of trouble growing up. People had stared at me a lot and I'd stared back and nearly got a sort of, you know, almost got into fights really, because I thought, if you're going to stare at me, I'm going to give it back. And so I was very apprehensive. And then I saw somebody who had a facial difference, quite a significant facial difference in the education block. And I thought, if that woman can do that, then I can do it. And don't be put off. When I asked the teachers there whether they thought I could be a teacher, they said, well, only you know that. And I thought, that's not really what I need to hear. So take it from a disabled educator, take it from a disabled teacher. We need you because it's a lovely career. It really is. You can change lives. The number of parents who've spoken to me, children who've spoken to me and have said, you understand, you get it. And that's without me even having a conversation with them. The fact that I'm there speaks volumes to them. And you will have people that make assumptions about you, and don't get perturbed about that. Just be yourself, work hard, and I think you'll crack it. Absolutely.